All right, let's talk about the Cloverfield Paradox, the third movie in this trilogy of movies that are so different from one another. It's a really weird trilogy if you think about it. Like, what other trilogies are so different from each other like this? Where the first one is a found footage movie, like a giant creature feature, and the second one is a like paranoia, trapped in one location, can't escape movie. And then the third one is astronauts in outer space, stuck in some multiverse thing, and no aliens really at all until the last 2 seconds. So these movies are very different from each other. And the reason being is because apparently the second movie and this one, the scripts were not Cloverfield movies at all. They were not meant to be Cloverfield sequels. And then J.J. Abrams and people just looked at the script, bought it, and were like, let's put Cloverfield on the title and we'll throw aliens in it at the last second. It worked for me in 10 Cloverfield Lane. Does not work as well in this one. This one I just was not a huge fan of. Not a bad made movie, but I'm not as into this kind of horror movie. The very sci-fi, like we're all in outer space and there's just a bunch of like astronaut jargon. I just don't find anything they're saying interesting at all. These characters, I just don't care about any of them really. Hardly any character development, if not like zero for a lot of these people. The only thing you know about these people is what country they're from because they wear it on their arm, the flag. So you're like, all right, that's the Irish guy, or I'm Irish. Yeah, I think it was Ireland. Second guessing myself here. China, I want to say was the other one, and then like Germany and the UK. The main girl is from the UK. Like that's all you really know about these people. The only one they flesh out is the main girl from the UK, Ava. We find out about her family and the loss of her children, yada yada. But that's really about it. Like these characters are very thin, and I don't care about any of them. It's not like the original Alien, where there's a good camaraderie and like they're entertaining. Like these characters to me were just kind of boring. Like the only thing they talk about is the mission. Like, all right, we gotta do this to achieve this. We gotta do this. We gotta fix this. And it's like it's boring. There's not a lot of tension, not a lot of actual horror in here. Like I wish they would have attempted to throw in some actual aliens on this ship. Why not? Like how come it's so sci-fi that it gets confusing to me. I don't like hardcore sci-fi shit like this. Like how come aliens didn't like infiltrate their ship somehow? Like this other person somehow lands in their ship. That's 6'3" tall lady. There's a very tall actress they hired for this movie, and everyone else in the movie is like 5'5". She's just towering over them. But it's like, how come she somehow managed to get on their ship, but everyone on her crew died, but she somehow landed there? Like they never really explained that, or maybe I missed it. I don't know. And then, but how come there's no aliens like getting on their ship? They're all just getting on Earth, but we never really get to see what the hell's happening on Earth. Like you got this subplot with the husband. We cut to the husband from time to time on Earth 1, I call it. And like there's nothing interesting going on there with him. He's just like, oh, I lost the signal to my wife. And then there's a building that's collapsed and there's a girl here and he just picks her up. And then we see him again at the very end, like, trying to warn Ava, but it's too late. Like, don't come down to Earth. It's fucked up here. Like, everything with him just felt like filler. There was nothing interesting. Like, how come it should have been like him in a situation like the people in part 1, like running around, like fucking chaos above him everywhere, like make it bigger budget feeling. Like, this had a pretty decent budget, I think. But it's like, there's not a lot going on. It's just them like focused on their mission, like, oh shit, we're in a different universe. How do we get out of this? Okay, we need to fix this, we need to do this, and I'm just not really into it. Like this one dude's arm gets chopped off, and that's like the funniest part of the movie, and it's kind of a tonal shift. Like it's a very serious film, and then like this Evil Dead 2 shit starts happening. His arm's going around trying to capture his arm. He's like, "Oh, be easy with it, guys." It's like that was a weird tonal shift in the middle of the movie, but there's just not a lot of horror happening. I mean, yeah, they're all getting killed one by one, but it's not gruesome and it's not like scary to me. Um, what this movie should have been was a sequel to 10 Cloverfield Lane. That's what I wanted. I want to see Mary Elizabeth Winstead kicking ass like she did in the last 5 minutes of the last movie. I wanted to see that story continued, not this outer space trying to be like Ripley's Alien. Ridley. I always mix those names up. Ridley Scott's Alien. It's trying to be Alien, but with no aliens, really. Um, and yeah, this whole movie just seems like an unnecessary explanation for how. We don't need the explanation of how the shit happened in Cloverfield 1 and 10 Cloverfield Lane. Like, all right, now we know it was some fucked up experiment in 2028, I read online. I don't remember them saying in the movie what year it was, but apparently this movie takes place in 2028. And so I guess they sent aliens back in time to attack New York in 2008 and then to attack like Louisiana or Texas in 2016 for the second movie. Like, it's just confusing, this timeline shit, the multiverse stuff. I'm not into it. Yeah, it's just now we get an explanation for how, as if we were asking for one. Like the first one kind of made it seem like it was man-made. Like the government made it and they were already prepared to stop it. Because think about how quick the government's response was in part one. Like they were there instantly attacking that thing. So it was like maybe they knew this thing was coming, but there's no way they knew it was coming in this one. In this movie, it doesn't seem like it. It was just an accident that happened out of nowhere. But yeah, like, I don't know what else to talk about. The characters, like I already said, I think I said everything negative. But the positive for this movie is, the movie looks good. The set designs, it's not, very cheesy, like a bunch of flashing lights everywhere that mean nothing, like old school sci-fi movies. Like the sets of the spaceship, inside and out, liked it. And the cinematography, the lighting, like it looks good. And the acting from basically everybody, very good. All above average. And also, Mundy, he's the only character in the movie that I liked for the simple fact that he was funny. He's the guy that loses his arm and he's like, hey, find my arm, guys. Oh, be easy with it, gentle. Oh, I think it's trying to write something. Like I think he's the Irish guy, and he's very tall, so it's a good thing. Otherwise, this tall woman that lands there would have no clothes to borrow from anybody because everyone's so short. She needed Mundy because he's the same height as her. She's fucking huge. But yeah, so Mundy, good character, comic relief, and the downbeat ending. I liked the last 5 seconds. It was just like, holy shit. And then it's like, all right, those characters are fucked. So, yeah, I liked the downbeat ending. But outside of that, not a whole lot to talk about. So, final thoughts. This is a major drop-off from the first two films. But it's by no means like a bad movie. It's just disappointing that this was the direction that they took the franchise. And it needed to be much more scary. It needed more alien action, less talk about the multiverse stuff. No, we don't need the explanation. It's well made, well acted, cinematography, production design, all that stuff. But I don't know, it just needed better characters, develop them more, and maybe a smaller cast. That way we can spend more time on a smaller cast of characters to flesh them out instead of having like 7-8 people that you don't care about. So when it comes to the Cloverfield paradox, I'm just going to go with a 2.5 out of 5. Alright, spoiler discussion. So, Donald Logue is this conspiracy theorist, very small appearance in the movie, and he's talking about how this experiment in space, if they do it, it's going to potentially create this multiverse. It's going to create a hole and anything can come through it. And the woman interviewing him is the same actress who played the woman in 10 Cloverfield Lane, who shows up all infected, like, let me in, I swear it didn't touch me. So I thought that was interesting. And so yeah, then they fire the laser and then like, oh my gosh, Earth is missing, where are we? And then the woman's in the wall, and she knows Hamilton, but none of the other people really, except for Schmidt from Inglourious Bastards. Good actor. And Valkov, the Russian guy, makes a like 3D gun. He 3D prints a gun, and then he just starts puking up worms. So that's like one little moment of horror. That's something that you would see in other horror movies. Like, oh my gosh, you're puking up insects. Why? How is this happening? Like, instead of insects, it should have just been like a fucking alien that starts attacking them or something. I don't understand why he's puking up all these worms. Is there an explanation you guys have? How come Tam refuses to speak English? She understands it, but she just refuses to speak it. She makes everyone else have to like listen to her speak in, Chinese, but everyone else there is speaking English. She's the only one who's like, nope, I refuse to. She knows how to speak it. She just does not want to. And the alternate Schmidt apparently was a bad guy, so Mina, when she's in this universe, she does not trust Schmidt. And then, Mundy loses his arm, and the CGI there was not that good. And so then they find this thing inside of Valkov's stomach. They cut him open, get some good gore. It's PG-13, but there's some good gore shots when they're doing that autopsy. And so then they find out that this other universe that they're in, where there's Earth 2, there's a 14-month war going on between the Russians and America, and that the other crew is dead except for the tall chick. How does she survive? I don't understand how she landed on their ship. But and then the whole thing with the arm, why that wall was grabbing his arm, and then none of it really makes sense to me. It's all over my head, all this science jargon. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? There's a lot of that talk in this movie. Lots of science-y dialogue where I'm like, I have no idea what you guys are saying. Is that good or bad? They're like, oh my gosh, it's going at 24.8 degrees. Is that good? Is that a high number, low number? I don't understand what you guys are talking about. And then we get everyone dying quickly, one by one. The one girl drowns, which would be scary. And then, when the wall breaks open, she immediately, turns into ice. And then the other guy turns into Kentucky Fried Monday. And then we get the cliche sacrifice moment, which I just don't buy, that it would be that easy to make that decision. They make it so quick in movies. They're like, oh my gosh, I guess I gotta kill myself to save you two. All right, go. And they lock the door behind them, and they're pounding, no, don't do it. There's gotta be another way. And he's like, no, I gotta do it. I'm gonna kill myself. It's that easy to just kill yourself. I would try to find another way. No fucking way that I'm sacrificing myself. There's never any hesitation in these movies. And so Jensen wants the thing for herself, the shepherd, so she turns into the villain of the movie, and I'm not really buying it. Her whole plan, how come you guys get to keep it? I'm willing to kill 3 innocent people to save, 6, 7, 8, I think they say 8 billion lives. But it's you're gonna kill 8 billion lives on the other Earth. So it's you're saving your Earth, but you're still, at the same time, you're going to kill their Earth, right? She acts like she's saving 8 billion lives, but technically isn't she also killing 8 billion lives in a different universe? Because they need this thing in both universes for energy reasons. The whole thing is they're trying to create free energy with this spaceship thing. But it's if she steals it for her universe to save her Earth, she's going to let this Earth that she doesn't live on eventually die because there's no energy. So it's you're not saving anybody. You're killing. But yeah, whatever. So then, then she kills Jensen, the alien in Alien, by blowing up a hole in the wall, and then she gets sucked out. And Ava and Schmidt, they just return to Earth in a pod, and they land in the mouth of a giant alien that looks similar to the giant alien at the end of Cloverfield, but this one's obviously way bigger. This thing is poking its head above the clouds. The one in Cloverfield was maybe a few hundred feet tall. This one is clearly a few thousand feet tall. This thing's fucking huge. So yeah, they just die. As soon as they get into Earth, they're dead. And that's the end of the movie. So, what are your thoughts on this movie? Let me know in the comments below. Do you like it more than the other two? I'd be shocked to find a lot of people saying that, but who knows? Everyone's different. But yeah, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And remember, it's all an opinion. You don't need to get butthurt about it.